everybody, welcome to the 𝐂𝐸 Way. I'm Jessica, and today's video is going to be my top 5 reasons why homeschooling an only child is awesome. Because it is in fact awesome. But sometimes I feel like we get all caught up in how different homeschooling an only child could be. And it is different. And sometimes that different can feel negative or it can feel like cons, and we forget the amazing things that come along with homeschooling an only child. So I thought that today I would share my top 5 reasons it's awesome. But I'm not just sharing my top 5 reasons it's awesome. I'm also asking all of my homeschool mom of only YouTube friends to join me in sharing their reasons homeschooling an only is awesome too. So if you are considering homeschooling an only and you need to know all the positives, or if you're homeschooling an only and you need to be reminded of all the reasons it's awesome, make sure you check out the playlist that I'm going to link in the description. Reason number 1 that homeschooling an only is awesome is because I can completely personalize her education. I can dive head deep into interest-led learning. I can change what we're learning about at the drop of a hat, and I can personalize everything to her learning style. Makes it amazing because I'm not trying to juggle multiple learning styles or multiple strengths in education or multiple interests. I can basically tailor her education 100% to her. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that when you're homeschooling multiple kids. Obviously you can. It just wouldn't be nearly as easy. So I know that Emily is an auditory learner. I know that that means I can read a lot of different subjects aloud and she's going to retain it. I also know that she absolutely loves animals, so anytime I can add some sort of animal theme or an animal into what we're learning, she is 99% more likely to retain it and pay better attention. Like all of these things, I can tailor all of it to her. It's also kind of how I created the 𝐂𝐸 Way, because that's what I've been doing since day one, is I've been able to tailor her education to her. Whatever she was interested in, I would create a unit study for her, and that's what we would do. It's how I continue to create unit studies. Pretty much everything that we sell in the shop has been based off of her interest at some point or another, and I love it. I love that I have the ability to do that, not only to meet her where she's at, not only to teach to her specific learning styles, but to also capitalize on interest-led learning basically at its best, because I can just drop everything and dive into whatever topic she's into at that moment. Reason number 2, homeschooling an only child, is because of that parent-child connection. It just makes it awesome. Homeschooling in general, no matter how many kids you have, already helps that parent-child connection be better than if you were not homeschooling, because you are spending more time with your kid otherwise. But when you're homeschooling an only, you are really, really capitalizing on that connection component. You are spending pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with your kid, and you are doing that one-on-one foundation building relationship kind of work. Like, you are really, really pouring that foundation strong. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, yes, there have been times when we're staring at each other across the table and we need a break from looking at each other's faces. But that is very, very seldom. 9 times out of 10, I think Emily's the coolest person in the world and I love hanging out with her. And she would probably tell you that I'm her best friend. And I don't think that would have happened if we weren't homeschooling. So it makes it really awesome that, like, I get to homeschool and build that connection and see all of her triumphs and be the person who's there for all of the failures and to wipe the tears away, no matter what it's over, math or anything. Like, I get to be the person there for that. And so homeschooling an only child is amazing because you're building a connection that is literally going to last a lifetime. Reason number 3 that homeschooling an only child is awesome is because it gives us flexibility to live a more spontaneous lifestyle. If you have multiple kids, it probably requires a lot more planning on your part to leave the house in general. With an only child, we can pretty much pack up and leave at the drop of a hat. I mean, we can go on vacation whenever we want. It's more affordable to do things because there's only 3 of us instead of 5, 6, or 7. So tickets to places are cheaper. We only have to have 1 room when we go to hotels. So it just makes things more affordable and easier. We're able to take field trips more often. We don't always have to depend on like homeschool days, which is typically when places are packed. We get to just be flexible and do whatever. We only have Emily's extracurricular activities. We're not trying to fit in 2 or 3 kids' extracurricular activities. We just spent a month last September on a month-long road trip. I'm honestly going to say if we had more than 1 kid, there's no way we could have done it because we were literally packed to the brim and like there would have been nowhere for the other kid to sit. Is that to say that if you have multiple kids, you can't go on a month-long road trip? Absolutely not. You could. We just couldn't have, at least not the way that we did it when we did it. We would have had to have a different vehicle, or something would have had to have been different. So it affords us the ability to have flexibility, to live a spontaneous lifestyle, to go and do more, to see more, to experience more, because the costs are lower, the amount of people are lower, the things that we have to do to get out the door is less. Like, it's just one of those amazing benefits. Reason number 4 that homeschooling an only child is awesome is because we typically have a calmer, less distracted learning environment. When there is only me and Emily, I'm not having to be distracted and split myself 3, 4, 5, or 6 different ways. She gets all of my attention. It's calmer because it's just the 2 of us. There's not multiple kids running around, or multiple kids calling mom, or multiple kids needing my help. There's not, me trying to split myself 4 or 5 different ways, or trying to do this for one person and this for the other. We typically have a very calm, serene, focused learning environment because it's just her and I, or maybe Kevin and her, or maybe possibly the 3 of us. But even then, it's still, I can read aloud and she doesn't have to worry about being distracted by a sibling doing something while I'm reading aloud. It's just her and I. Or we can play a game and there's less likelihood that we're going to end a game or something in tears because it's just the 2 or 3 of us. It's calm, it's serene, there's fewer distractions, we can be more focused. And reason number 5 that homeschooling an only child, or any child for that matter, is awesome is just the freedom. The freedom that homeschool gives you. The ability to start at noon instead of 8, or the ability to school at night instead of the daytime, or the ability to learn on the weekends because you took the whole week off doing something. Or the ability to count a field trip as learning, or watching a documentary as a family. Like, just freedom in general is amazing no matter what you're doing or how many kids you're homeschooling. But it is really amazing when you're homeschooling one, because the freedom that you have to, for example, take weeks off at a time, or go to archery competitions all over the state, or be at karate 3 and 4 nights a week, 4 hours at a time. Like, we get to do that because it's just her and the 2 of us, and we can have that freedom to stay at karate till 10 o'clock at night and sleep in a little later the next morning, or take 4 days off to travel to an archery competition in another state, because when do you not want to shoot at a 25-foot tall giraffe? Like, that's not going to happen multiple times in your life. We can't miss that. Or because hormones are hitting and we need to have more relaxed school, and so we can do that. Like, when it's just her and I, if one of us is off, we can just say, we're just not homeschooling today, or we'll make it up later, or we'll do it in a few hours, or whatever. Like, we have the freedom to do all of those things, and it just makes it so amazing. As a bonus, I want to leave you with a piece of advice as a mom who's been homeschooling and only for 8 to 9 years, depending on whether you count preschool or not. Anytime I tell anybody I'm homeschooling and only, their very first question is always the socialization question. And because of that, I spent the first 4 years of homeschooling extremely worried about it, because everybody made it out to be a big deal. So I obviously thought it must be a big deal. It's not. Don't let other people's mental hang-ups stress you out. When you are homeschooling an only child, socialization happens. It happens everywhere, all day, all the time. With you, with your spouse, with the mailman, with the people at the grocery store. I mean, unless you are literally living in a cave, your child is getting plenty of socialization. And they will eventually build those lifelong friendships. It probably won't happen when they're 4 or 5, but as long, like I said, as you're not living in a cave, and you're doing something, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be a co-op. It could be a co-op. It doesn't have to be a co-op. For Emily, it was just extracurriculars that she was interested in. She now has 3 very, very good friends, like best friends that she definitely will have for the rest of her life. And she met 2 of them through archery, and one of them as a friend of mine's child. Like, she met them through the friend of mine. And so, like I said, as long as you're not living in a cave, it's not something you need to be concerned about. Like, don't let other people's fear mongering be something that you concern yourself with. Even if you're homeschooling an only child, socialization will happen. Those lifelong friendships will happen naturally. They will meet people, make an effort to get involved, but I've never gone like out of my way other than those first few years, which honestly was just exhausting to Emily and I both. Like, at the end of the day, we were like, why are we doing this? co-op is not for us. This is too much peopling. It felt so forced. So don't let other people's opinion push you into something that you don't really want to do. Like, it's going to happen. Socialization is not a concern. You'll find your thing. They'll find their friends. Like, it's really not something you need to be worried about. So there's my bonus piece of advice, because I feel like as a mom of a homeschooling an only child is the one thing that seems to be everybody's biggest concern. And seriously, unless you're living in a cave, it shouldn't be. Now, I would love it if you would tell me at least one reason why you think homeschooling an only child is awesome. Let me know down in the comments.